See, one thing I wanted to tell you was, what do we have in store? Ennalam mudichirkeenga, what you have not yet completed, that you have to definitely make a list pa. Now is the time for that, to start making a list of what all you have to study. Already, but some of you might have நீங்க மறந்து போயிருப்பீங்க. So first is, so what is our pattern? Why are we struggling? What, there are only a few questions that they can ask. So I don't think you have to only work smarter now. So pre-board exam ka, I want you to work smart. I don't know whether you're writing a pre-board then upon next. Anybody has any other exams in between? Divyaku போயிட்டு இருக்குன்னு நினைக்கிறேன் சன்ஷைன்ல இல்லையாப்பா?
Ma'am, coming Friday I have math.
Relations and coming Friday வாப்பா. Relations.
Ma'am.
Yeah, Surya.
Tomorrow I have max exam, ma'am. Full portions.
Full portions. Enjoy, Surya. See, very, very easy is this first. We have a rough weightage of all the lessons given in the syllabus. So relations and functions and inverse trigonometric functions. The syllabus says you have a 8-mark weightage. Together one the 8 marks. So what does your sample question paper say in pathina? Your sample question paper la, you have 1 mark ஒரு question, 2 mark ஒரே ஒரு question, and you have a 5 mark ஒரு question. If you add up, it comes to the total also. So this is what we can expect from these 2 lessons. Difficult illa, very easy, because for you there is a reduced portion illaya. So syllabus la ennala irukku, just have a look at your syllabus. So I will give you a booklet when you come on Sunday, when you come for your test illaya sollirkume, you are going to write a test on Sunday in solite.
Yes ma'am.
So that time I will give you all these documents, because idu vandu neenga or kaila print out, you should always have syllabus, ungala deleted portions, and your enna solradhu. Let me take my curriculum document itself. Where is Max 12th curriculum? Okay, so this is our syllabus document. Syllabus document, it's the Bible for us. We have to go through and see if we have understood. So what you are going to do, have a pencil and mark whenever you have finished the topic. Just put a strike off there. But now what does this mean to us? Abdina, very simple. You have 8 marks, you have one 1-mark question. There are only 2 concepts by the way. There is nothing else that you can do. They can ask you only one type, that is whether it is a reflexive, symmetric or transitive relation, equivalence relation illaya. Then whether it is 1-to-1 or on-to. The concepts from relations and functions for a 5-mark, imagine it is going to be very, very easy. What are we going to do here? NCRT, miscellaneous. We have to do exemplar also. So this is where you will study from. We will be solving past question papers in class itself. So that is secondary, but exemplar, we might not have time to do all the questions in class. So when I am planning a 1-shot revision of all the lessons, I will be planning questions from the exemplar. But so if you just do all these, you can score full 8 out of 8 here. Either in the 2-mark question and 1-mark question, or mostly from inverse trigonometric functions. In the 2-mark, as per your sample paper, there is a choice. They have given a relations and function question also. But let's assume they will stick on to this. Appo you have inverse trigonometric functions la irundhu ore oru assertion reason question na they had asked in the sample paper. So inverse trigonometric function ku probably there is only a 3-mark weightage, but the chapter also is very, very simple. It is only based on range, domain, principal value, branch, and they can ask you a graph. They can give you a graph, they can ask you to interpret the graph, or they can ask you to draw the graph, however it is, right? So that is also a very, very small topic. So both these lessons together to revise might not even take you more than 3 hours. If at all you're going to revise these lessons. So what are we going to do? We are going to study this. We are going to make a note of what all we know, what all we don't know. So your 8 marks is done here. Next, the topic is matrices and determinants. So matrices and determinants according to your syllabus has a 10-mark weightage. So 10 marks weightage, it is divided as matrices konja weightage kammi da. In the sense, it has only a 2-mark question. But matrices theriyama, you cannot do determinants. So you have 3 1 marks. This is interchangeable. Totally, you have 5 1-mark questions from matrices and determinants. Then only 1 5-mark question. And that 5-mark question is from determinants. They are giving you a problem to solve and find the value of x, y, and z. So this is again going to be a very easy topic. I'm going to combine this and do a one-shot next class. Maybe on Friday when we revise, I will start with this easy lesson. This is one 10 marks where you cannot lose marks at all. Relations and functions, it will be a little difficult. It will look like, oh, it's too much difficult. But it's not at all difficult because they have to stick to the textbook. The textbook, so many questions are there. So you have to know the basics. In a 1-mark question, what do we have to know? Sisters, then sisters, one person, it cannot be reflexive because a sister cannot be a sister of herself. So it is not reflexive. So in the Mari questions now, you have to keep practicing, which we have a lot of resources for practicing. Okay. So matrices and determinants is done. Next one, let me take the easier ones and finish off. You have probability. So probability has 8 marks. For one chapter, 8 marks weightage na paranga, so important that chapter is. And when as far as probability is concerned, you don't have the pinadi 13.5 la ungalku illa. So you have only 4 exercises. On the 4th exercise la also variance is not there for you. So only till mean you have. So probability la you have 8 marks. In the 8 marks la definite or case study is there. Okay. And then as per your, there is a 3-mark question in probability. And there is also 1-mark question in probability. So as of the pattern, it is 1 1-mark and 1 3-mark. So they are kind of covering all your exercises here. So probability thorough we should do from past paper questions. We should do all these possible questions. But yes, you have Bayes theorem only as a possibility in your case study. So case study, 2 questions or 3 questions they are asking. In that, they are going to definitely test you on Bayes theorem. So this is regarding probability. Adhe mari or single chapter ku weightage irukku sonna, we'll come to that. Vectors and 3D. Next easy topic for us. This carries 14 marks as per your syllabus. But question paper la I could find out only 13 marks for this. So you have vector la irundhu 1 mark or 3 1-mark ketirundanga, or 2 marks vandu or 2-mark question was there. And specifically from 3D, there was 1 2-mark, 1 1-mark, and 1 5-mark. So we know for sure that 1 3-mark, 1 5-mark question is going to come from 3D geometry. And now that planes are deleted, it's only going to be a lines question. அப்ப என்னென்ன questions இருக்கு இங்க பாருங்க. So matricesல எல்லாமே நம்ம பண்ணிருக்கோமா செக் பண்ணுங்க. Concept notation, இது operations எல்லாமே இல்ல, because we have only 2 marks weightage. It's only going to be MCQ. So what do they want us to do? Multiplication, addition, scalar multiplication. That's what they are expecting us to do in matrices. Nothing else is there. Determinants, we have adjoint concept, we have inverse concept. So idalam they can ask you in again 1-mark questions. Then only 1 5-mark question, solving a system of linear equations in 2 or 3 variables. They will only ask you 3 variables mostly. You have to use inverse formula to do that. So definite 5-mark question, we know where it is going to come from. Area of a triangle, 5 mark irukuppa, 1 mark la, MCQ la. So 2 marks, 3 marks, they can interchange also. So matrices la 2, determinants la 3 da irukonondradhu illa, but kind of 5 1-mark and 1 5-mark avladha romba easy they have given for us. So you can just go through all the basics, and but what you have to definitely solve is more questions on finding the adjoint properly. So anga idu vandu nama kattukradhukku eduvume illa, you know the concepts very well. What you have to do is you have to only make sure that you are doing it correctly at that time. Multiplication la correct ah pandringa, in the sign mistake ku neenga pannala. That is, and I have already told you, solve this by some other way and also substitute and check if your answer is correct. So your answer kandupidichadukku apparama always check, because it's a 5-mark question. We can't afford to lose those 5 marks. Seriya. Probability. Probability la again you have conditional probability. We have studied that. Multiplication theorem on probability, independent events, that is into pandra and the model also we have studied. Total probability, yes, that is the formula. P of A union B is equal to P of A plus P of P minus P of A intersection C, the intersection B. That also we have studied. Bayes theorem. So Bayes theorem is one important topic that also we have done. Random variable and its probability distribution, that is framing the table. x is equal to 1, 2, 3. இது வந்து it is possible for them to ask that as a 3-mark question itself. For a 3-mark table, they 3-mark they can ask you to form a probability distribution and then find the mean. So that is a very possible question in your 3-mark. For case study, they can only conditional probability and Bayes theorem, they can ask you questions on. So vectors and 3D. Vectors, though there is so much there, they are not going to ask you any big questions here. It's going to be simple questions only here. So multiplication of a scalar, projection of this on that, all these models we have to do. So vectors and 3D, we have to do all questions along with miscellaneous. Probability, we have to do miscellaneous also. We have to do past year questions also. For matrices determinants, nothing can be done from our end. We have to only make sure that we are sane at that time. We are not getting tensed at that time. அது தவிர வேற எதுவுமே concepts எல்லாம் you will be very clear by now. This is the first lesson that we did in school also they did. Very interestingly, LPP is another very, very high weightage chapter. They have given full 5 marks for LPP. They have given you 2 1-mark questions and 1 3-mark question. So I was expecting it will be a graph will be a 5-mark, but 5-mark illa. They have asked us as like this. But yes, again, na solra madri, relations and functions, so LPP always interchangeable. Ipdida irukuma question paper, we don't know. We have to be prepared for if they can always interchange this and they can ask LPP as a 5-mark question and ask relations and functions as a 3-mark question. They can definitely do that. But as of now, we have to definitely study only one model which is there in LPP, which is all 1-mark questions. Term 1 papers nariya irukku. Term 1 questions la vandu LPP was term 1 for them, MCQ for them. So from that, if you practice, you can easily get those 2 marks in 1-mark thing, and you have to do the graph. Ipo idu illama, see, majority of the marks, that is 10, 26, 30, 40, 45 marks namakku mudinjiruchu. Yes ma.
So LPP can be a 3-mark and or a 5-mark question.
LPP can be, as of your sample paper, it's a 3-mark question pa. But
now, because so far in my own my school's examinations, they gave it as a graph only, ma'am.
Graph only will come, da. Graph only will come, but 3-mark graph da is there in sample paper. Sample paper la they have given it as solve the problem ku vandu maximize minimize vandu it's a 3-mark question, Mohit. So but schools la vandu they prefer to give it as a 5-mark question also.
So there's no difference between the two?
Well, there's no difference pa. Except the thing it can be unbounded now la.
Maybe unbounded can be the 5-mark
question. If at all it's a 5-mark model, they might ask you unbounded. So difficult problem, they might go for see apdi kuda avasiyam illa, because application of integrals, that's what I'm coming at. Application of integrals is a 5-mark question. So difficult question da anga kekkanungra avasiyam illa. So now non-calculus part liye vandu we have done so much. We have got 45 marks for without touching calculus. The total paper weightage vandu 45 marks. So all these together should add up to 45 marks for you. Coming to your calculus part. For calculus part, la total weightage is only 35. But 35, yes, for 5 lessons, you have 35 marks. So very, very important 35 marks for you. There are 5 lessons. So first is chapter 5. Continuity and differentiability. So continuity and differentiability, the total weightage that I could see in the sample paper is for 6 marks. On the 6 marks may only simple questions. 1 mark or 2, 2 marks or 2. இப்படிதான் கேட்பாங்களா, we don't know. But yes, there is a high possibility that they can stick on to this. So continuity la irundhu ஒரு question கொடுத்து find the value of k, அந்த model question we can expect in continuity as a 1-mark question. It's because it's MCQ. Then they can just ask you to differentiate something. Second differentiation, double differentiation, ellame they can ask, because those are the possible questions here. So differentiation அப்படிங்கிற அந்த டாபிக்கு they have given this much of weightage, which is perfectly fine. Application of derivatives is where in the sample paper they have given a 8 marks weightage and 2 case studies, which is very unlikely. Usually CBSE does not do this, but they have given 8 marks weightage to application of derivatives. But there are 2 case studies from this lesson itself. One of the questions is from differentiation la irundhu ஒரு question they have asked, but at the critical point, maxima minima, increasing decreasing functions, ellathayume they have tried to put it inside this. So application of derivatives la I think there is no 2 mark also. Yes ma, there is no 2 mark also. There is no 2 mark, there is no 3 mark. Directly you have only 2 case studies here. Advantage in you don't have to do the word problems of your 6.5 then. So if at all they stick on to this pattern, then you need not do too many on the word problems, volume of a cone, irritating questions. Prove that this is there. They are maybe going for some sensible topic. They're asking case studies and asking you to find out rate of change. Mix panni, they are asking you a question on this. If this is what they are going to keep as the pattern, then yes, we are lucky. So I would suggest we can do more case studies on this topic rather than doing the proof questions. But yes, proof questions, even though we know they might not come at all, we have to do all the NCERT and miscellaneous word problems. As per the sample paper, they will not come. If they follow the sample paper strictly, then it will not come. That we will get an idea because you're doing your physics and chemistry first. So once your physics and chemistry question papers are out, we will get a clear idea of whether they are sticking on to your sample paper or not. So based on that, during the last 5 days, we can again go back and change our strategy and prepare for the exam. So we will assume that this is how the paper is going to be and we will keep preparing towards that. Okay. So chapter application of derivatives lesson 8 marks they have given. ரெண்டு case study அவ்வளவுதான். Next is our important chapter integrals. Integrals total weightage given is 10 marks. There is only one 1 mark question and 3 3 mark questions. So 3 3 mark questions you have one definite integral and 2 normal integral questions. This is how they have given in your sample paper. So 3 3 mark questions so unlikely, highly unlikely, because then மொத்தமே 6 3 mark questions தான். அதுல 3 question வந்து integralness கேக்குறது வந்து it is I don't think that is very much possible. But that then leaves us to a problem that they can move application of integrals there and ask an integrals question as 5 mark. அது இன்னும் dangerous நமக்கு. Because application of integrals இருக்க வரைக்கும் we know what type of questions they can ask as 5 mark. But integrals னு வரும்போது 5 mark question அங்க போயிடுச்சுனா it will become very tricky for us because there are so many questions. But on the brighter side, integrals what is possible to be asked as 5 mark அப்படினா partial fractions, integration by parts, or definite integrals இருக்கிற அந்த proof questions wherein we have to use property to prove something. I னு வச்சு 2i ஞாபகம் இருக்குன்னு நினைக்கிறேன் உங்களுக்கு. I is equal to போடுவோம், then we will use a property, we will say to these type of questions can be asked. So integrals, even though sample paper does not have a 5 mark from this, I will always mark integrals as a 5 mark. And I will interchange my application of integrals here for a 3 mark. I will definitely hope that that is what they should be doing, because application of integrals aduvum second exercise deleted nu sollumbodhu it is not at all fair that they give 5 marks for that question. Or if at all they give, then the question will be very difficult. So adukku better they can go for integrals and ask a partial fraction or a integration by parts question in 5 mark itself. However, integrals has a 10 mark weightage. So we have to do all the exercises. Integrals we cannot do anything. We cannot practice all possible questions at all. What we can do is only past year questions. I don't think we can even complete NCERT second time in this. ஏன்னா சொன்ன மாதிரி 130 problems இருக்கு textbookல மட்டுமே. So 130 problems திருப்பி நீங்க போடுறதுங்கிறது கூட I don't know whether you will have the patience to do that. So we have to do some past year questions of question papers for integrals. That's what we can do for preparation. So 1, 2, 3, then application of integrals, as I told you, it has a 5 mark weightage. As of now, this is only 1 5 mark. 1 5 mark question, and that too there are only a very few models. Now, one shot revision pannumbodhu I will tell you, it's so easy that hardly I think I have collected around 12 problems. And the 12 problems mattum dhaan varadhukku chance irukku. Adu thavara there is no other chance. For a circle, rendu parabola, or ellipse, and then lines, 3 lines questions, triangle area questions, and all these types I have taken one model for you. So mostly they will stick on to that for application of integrals. Then you have your easiest differential equations, again has a 5 mark weightage. Here they have asked you 5 marks 1 mark la 2 question. So one question will always be from the first exercise. 9.1 order and degree based questions. So 9.1 la irundhu you can expect one question. Then you will have your general solution, forming an equation la ungalku illa. So 3 mark is going to be one of the 3 types. We have 3 ways of solving a differential equation, either using your variable separable method or by using your integrating factor, IF, which we used to do, or homogeneous differential equation, V. Y is equal to Vx, we can solve. So these 3 models, if you know the 3 models, then this 3 mark question you can solve. So here I will stick on to NCRT. Because model we know, NCRT plus past year questions. So you don't have to specifically prepare. This is like determinants for me, I would say. If you know a little bit of integrals, then I think this is very much easy because you just have to apply the simple integral formula to get this. So I think overall we have in all these lessons, now how are we going to prepare? It was very possible to get full marks. So what are the possible questions? If you can take your, let's start from 5 marks. 5 marks la neenga padikka vendiya questions you have hardly, I would say, or 25 questions. The 25 questions neenga padichingena you are thorough with all the 5 marks. So 5 marks la we have a year mark application of integrals. Application of integrals la enna questions irukku? Parabola, circle, ellipse. One important interesting thing is your modulus. Nyabam iruka and question ungalku? So modulus question, wherein they will give you the function as a modulus. You have to draw the diagram correctly. Inga onne one enna diagram will carry 2 marks for you. So all models, modulus model, triangle. Correct? In the 5 models that you have for application of integrals. Parabola, which or parabola is there, and then you have a line cutting it. What is the area enclosed by this? Rumba easier we used to do area under the line, and then you will subtract the area under the parabola. If you subtract it, you will get the answer. So easy like that, circle, ellipse, ellame. So first is 1 5 mark is these 5 models. Then determinants. There is hardly only one model that they can ask you, but yes, sometimes they can ask you this a square minus, prove that this is equal to 0 and use it to prove something. This is one of the important models. Sometimes they can ask you this question instead of your usual solving. So rende model da inga nama padikka vendiyadu. One is multiplication properly and using it to prove, and second one is solving equations. So only 2 models. If you practice, you get this 5 marks also. Evlo easy paranga, the 20 marks la avlo easy you can get. Our third question is going to be from relations and functions. For relations and functions we have studied. So what can they ask is equivalence relation. They can give you any relation and ask you to prove it's an equivalence relation or not. So you have to do so many questions to understand this. Over what questions neenga nariya questions panna you will understand. Okay, ipo ungalke theriyum brother, sister, mother, indha mari relations vanda what are they, you know. Adhe mari I have told you this rule. So if at all you have 1, 1, I have 1, 2. Is it symmetric? Is it symmetric?
Yes.
Pa? Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
Is it reflexive?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir. 2,
Yes,
2 is
ma'am.
not there. Every part 2, 2 illaye.
Ma'am, but we have 1, 1, right?
1. You can't just do for that. No, for the for the elements that are there, you have to test that it is satisfying all the properties. So I can say it is reflexive because I can say the set is A is equal to 1, 1, 2. So it has to have 1, 1 and 2, 2. Then only I can say it is reflexive. But symmetric, I have 1, 2, 2, 1. Yes. Agde mari. If 1, 2 is there and 2, 1 is there, 1, 1 should be there. Irkapa. So it is transitive also.
Yes, ma'am.
So it is not reflexive. It is yes symmetric. It is yes transitive. புரியுதா? இந்த மாதிரி questions ரொம்ப simple இது. ஒண்ணுமே இல்ல.
How is it transitive?
ஏண்டா
Ma'am,
transitive
it's
இல்ல?
not transitive.
Like if you
Okay,
take 2, 1 and 1, 2, then 2, 2 is not there.
Yes.
Ma'am, for
Yes.
that we have to have A, B, B, C, no, ma'am. We have A,
இப்ப
B,
வந்து
B, A.
இந்த question என்ன சாரிப்பா, what will you do to make it equivalence relation? 2, 2 மட்டும் ஆட் பண்ணா போதும் இல்லையா? That is the question. இப்ப transitive ஆப்பா இது? இப்ப transitive and reflexive வா? இப்ப
Yes, ma'am.
reflexive, transitive, symmetric எல்லாமே satisfy ஆகுது இந்த equationல. So what is the minimum the minimum entry that you should add in this set to in this relation to make it equivalence relation? That was the question that they had asked in a 3 mark. So 3 மார்க்குக்குலாம் பாருங்க இது வர்த் கிடையாது இந்த question. பட் எழுதணும். You have to write. You have to give reason of why you are saying this. It is already symmetric, but it is not reflexive or transitive. அதுக்கு நீங்க சொன்ன மாதிரி reason explain பண்ணிட்டு then you have to say what you have to do it. Yes, Mashihari, yes. So equivalence relation based questions எல்லாமே வந்து with practice you will get just to be very easy. அப்படியே ஒரு நிமிஷத்துல you can solve these questions. So if at all it's a 5 mark question, it's a luck for us. Next, 1 to 1 and on to நம்ம நிறைய போட்டிருக்கோம். Bijection on prove பண்ண சொல்றாங்க 1 to 1 and on to. There is a possibility also. They can be a and B, wherein they can ask one question from inverse trigonometric function here. Definitely possible. They can ask you to draw a graph here. They can do that also. So CBSE வந்து இந்த மொத்த இது ரெண்டுத்தையுமே சேர்த்து தான் அவங்க பாக்குறாங்க. Relations and functions and inverse trigonometric functions is together relations and functions for them. So they have all the right to club questions and ask. So அப்ப inverse trigonometric functions ignore பண்ணாதீங்க. அந்த domain and range நல்லா by heart பண்ணுங்க. அந்த அளவுக்கு graph theory கொஞ்சம் படிங்க. Because they can ask one theory question. Draw the graph of cosecant inverse x னு கேட்டாங்கன்னு வெச்சுக்கோங்களேன். Then you should not lose those 2 marks. சரியா? So this is the next 5 mark for us. 3D இப்பதான் நம்ம முடிச்சோம் அந்த ரிவிஷன் இல்லையா? So 3D geometry is our next question. இப்போ 3D geometryல இருக்க 5 மார்க்குக்கு we already know what is going to be the question. First possible question is shortest distance. Find the shortest distance of a point from a line. Second question, they can ask you foot of, find the foot of the perpendicular. இதுவும் நம்ம போட்டோம். Find the foot of the perpendicular from ஒரு பாயிண்ட் கொடுத்துட்டு அந்த டயக்ராம் வச்சு நம்ம போட்டோம். இந்த மாதிரி மாடல் ஆஃப் क्वेश्चंस. Simply itself they can ask you to prove angle between கண்டுபிடிச்சிட்டு parallel perpendicular இந்த மாதிரி questions they can ask. So these are the only possible questions that they can ask from. And one more question we did. Line perpendicular to two lines. இல்லையா? இந்த ஒரு மாடலும் பண்ணோம். So 3D பொறுத்த வரைக்கும் we have done already, but yes, NCERT ல இருந்து கேட்க மாட்டாங்க. Miscellaneous NCERT exemplar. I will mark those questions for you. ஏன்னா வந்து உங்களுக்கு deleted portions எல்லாம் போட்டுட்டு நான் உங்களுக்கு exemplarலயும் கூட I will mark which all questions are there for us. Planesலாம் நமக்கு கிடையாது. So lot of questions are deleted for us. So இதுல இருக்கிற questions மட்டும் we have to definitely do in 3D for getting full marks in this 5 marks. So எனக்கு தெரிஞ்சு 5 marks we are very comfortable நான் சொல்வேன். We can easily start our paper with 5 mark questions because 5 mark questionsல இது எல்லாமே நமக்கு நல்ல easy lessons to attend. When you move to your case study again, கேஸ் ஸ்டடில என்ன கேட்க முடியும்? நம்ம சொன்ன மாதிரி ஃபர்ஸ்ட் அப்ளிகேஷன் ஆஃப் டெரிவேட்டிவ்ஸ் எப்படி கேட்டிருக்காங்க ஒரு பேட்டர்ன் ஆஃப் யுவர் சாம்பிள் பேப்பர் நீங்க பாத்தீங்கன்னா they have asked the first question for critical point. So differentiable ஆன்னு கேக்குறாங்க. கண்டினியூவஸா is it differentiable? Yes or no? This is from chapter 5. Is it differentiable? So அதுக்கு conditions பார்க்கணும். Then critical point பத்தி question கேக்குறாங்க. ஒரு equation கொடுத்துட்டு they are asking you about the critical point. They are asking you in which interval this function is increasing or decreasing. This was the first case study. Second case study la they also talked about maxima minima. So இவ்வளவுதான் நமக்கும் இருக்கு. If you look at it, this is what we have. There is a 2 mark question here. நான் விட்டுட்டேன். So 10 mark weightage ஆகும். அப்ப அந்த 2 mark questionல வந்து rate of change. Rate of change is exercise 6.1. கனா எல்லாம் அமைதியா இருக்கீங்கப்பா. உங்களுக்கு புரியுதாப்பா? I'm just hoping that it will be helpful to you because இவ்ளோ நீங்க கஷ்டப்படுற அளவுக்கு மேத்ஸ் கஷ்டமான ஒரு பேப்பர் கிடையாது. See, I can understand if you're scoring less marks in let's say physics. இல்லையா? ஆனா வந்து கொஞ்சம் வந்து அப்ஸ்ட்ராக்ட் கான்செப்ட்ஸ் நிறைய நீங்க படிக்கணும். கெமிஸ்ட்ரி எவ்வளவு ஈக்குவேஷன்ஸ் இருக்கு நீங்க ஞாபகம் வச்சுக்கணும். மேத்ஸ் நீங்க நினைக்கிற அளவுக்கு கஷ்டமான சப்ஜெக்ட் இல்ல. பட் யூ ஹாவ் டு புட் a little effort there. கொஞ்சம் பிளான் பண்ணி நீங்க படிக்கணும். அவ்வளவுதான். அதுல வந்து நீங்க மார்க் கம்மியா வாங்குற மாதிரியே பேப்பர் இந்த வாட்டி உங்களுக்கு இல்ல. சிலபஸ் வந்து it has become very simple and sample paper has made it very easy. இப்போ இதுக்கப்புறம் you go and check your half yearly paper. இந்த பேட்டர்ன்ல தான் பாவம் கேட்டிருப்பாங்க. ஆனா நீங்க தான் சரியா படிச்சிருக்க மாட்டீங்க. அப்ப நான் மார்க் கம்மியா இருந்துச்சுன்னா. So rate of change is a 2 mark question for us. It is from exercise 6.1. நமக்கு 6.2ல critical pointம் 6.2ல வருது increasing decreasing. 6.3 and 4 deleted for us. So 6.3 வந்து slopes and tangents and normal அது கிடையாது. அதே மாதிரி நமக்கு 6.4 errors and approximations கிடையாது. So these two concepts are from 6.2. Maximum minimum is 6.5. Except word problems. So இந்த வாட்டி பாத்தீங்கன்னா sample paperல இருக்க ரெண்டு questionுமே வந்து they had not touched upon second derivative test, first derivative test எல்லாமே வந்து they have asked very straightforward. Maximum minima தான் they have asked in your 6.5 and they had not asked you a difficult question at all. So இதே மாதிரி வந்துச்சுன்னா ரொம்ப luck நமக்கு. நம்ம word problems வந்து we don't have to practice much. So this is for your case study. 2 case studies are going to be based on these concepts. அப்ப நம்ம என்ன பண்ணணும்? Yes, we have to look for case studies தான். So CBSE itself has given you a case study document. சரியா? So CBSE உடைய CBSE ஓட 10th இது computer science tenth. Can you see this file pa?
Yes, ma'am.
இப்போ இந்த ஃபைல்ல வந்து this is given by CBSE itself. Official websiteலயே இந்த டாக்குமெண்ட் இருக்கு. நான் ஏற்கனவே உங்க கூட இத ஷேரும் பண்ணிருக்கேன்னு நினைக்கிறேன். So you can always go to this for all possible case study questions because இது வந்து genuine questions. The CBSE itself has given this. I'm also checking the website periodically to check if they have done any other new sample papers போட்டிருக்காங்களா அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு. So you can see that here they have given all relations and functions, all different models they have given. எல்லா questions இருக்கு பாருங்க. ஒரு 46 pages is there here. சரியா? So I will also try to print it for you when அந்த booklet மாதிரி கையில வச்சிட்டீங்கன்னா உங்களுக்கு அது ஹெல்ப்ஃபுல்லா இருக்கும். So you can definitely. So case studies க்கு I have to find some other resources also for you. But concept is very simple. They are only asking you simple questions based on increasing, decreasing, critical point, maxima, minima. So இதுவும் உங்களுக்கு easy. Probability பாத்தீங்கன்னா probabilityல வந்து they have asked you and they have given you that conditional probability and Bayes theorem. They are asking only 2 questions. ஒரு question conditional probability ல கேக்குறாங்க. சிம்பிளா நீங்க போடுற மாதிரி இருக்கு. Second question is from Bayes theorem. So again we know what they are going to ask. The numbers only are going to change. So in the case study ல வந்து we have to definitely, so third case study is going to be your probability case study. So having known this, when you go back to your 3 mark questions, இல்லையா? So 3 mark questionsல அங்கேயும் என்ன டிஃபிகல்ட்டா இருக்கானா இல்ல. என்ன 3 marks கேட்டிருக்காங்கன்னா ஒரு 3 mark we definitely know what they are going to ask. Differential equations. இப்போ differential equationsல மொத்தமாவே 3 மாடல் தான் இருக்கு. You have your variable separable method, integrating factor method or homogeneous differential equation method. So one of these 3 models they are going to ask a question. இங்க என்ன கேட்டிருக்காங்க? எப்படி பண்ணுவீங்க பாப்போம். How will you solve this pa?
We need to check the degree. If the degree is the same.
First see if you can separate it pa. First easy la start பண்ணுவோம்.
No,
Let's
ma'am.
check if it is not separatable.
No, ma'am.
So but can you expand now and see? First என்ன பண்ணுவோம், ஒரு dy by dx or dx by dy ஏதோ ஒரு ஃபார்ம் கொண்டு வருவோமா? So சொல்லலாமாப்பா? I am trying to see if I can write it in this form of dy by dx plus py is equal to q. In the case it is coming to the form dx by dy plus px is equal to q. இது ஏன் கண்டிப்பா கேட்பாங்கன்னு நான் சொல்றேன். இது போன வருஷம் deleted model. dx by dy எல்லாம் போன வருஷம் இல்ல. This time they have included that and that is they have asked that in the sample paper. So they're giving us a clue that you have to study this model. Variable separable, very small to be asked for a 3 mark question. So they might not ask you this as a 3 mark. You might get it as a 1 mark question. Very easy differentiation integration that is going to be. So
Ma'am, they won't ask about word problems from your.
I don't think so பா. இங்க 3 மார்க்ல அந்த அளவுக்கு கஷ்டமா கேட்டது இல்ல. இது வரைக்கும் differential equation has not been a word problem for us பா ஸ்ரீஹரி. They have, if at all it was a case study equation, there is a chance.
Yes, ma'am.
So but அந்த கேஸ் ஸ்டடி கேட்டுட்டாங்க அப்படின்னு சொன்னா பட் அதுக்கும் பாசிபிலிட்டி இருக்கு. அப்ளிகேஷன் ஆஃப் டெரிவேட்டிவ் இங்க மூவ் பண்ணணும் அப்ப அவங்க. So within their limit they can do anything they want, but உங்க டெக்ஸ்ட் புக்ல இல்லாததுனால we can only do those 2-3 questions which are there in your textbook. ஒரு பாக்டீரியா கவுண்ட் क्वेश्चन ஒன்னு இருக்கும்ல தானே. I think it's a bacteria question.
And that bank thingy, ma'am.
ரெண்டு question இருக்கும். So now we have now made it into this form. So now P is equal to 1 by y வச்சுப்பீங்க, Q is equal to y, and then you proceed with this problem. இது போட்டுருவீங்கன்னு நினைக்கிறேன். இதுக்கு வந்து ஒரு சாய்ஸ் கொடுத்திருக்காங்க. கொடுப்பாங்களா எக்ஸாம்ல சொல்ல முடியாது. அந்த சாய்ஸ் கொஸ்டின் வந்து ஃபர்ஸ்ட் யூ ஹேவ் டு ஐடென்டிஃபை, அவ்வளவுதான். x dy minus y dx is equal to square root of x square plus y square dx. First and the foremost thing, you have to see if you can somehow convert it into your this p y plus q. எனக்கு தெரிஞ்ச possibility இல்ல. So directly you can just say dy by dx is equal to dividing it by dx பா. கம்ப்ளீட்டா dividing it by dx நான் பண்ணிருக்கேன். So dy by dx is equal to, இங்க x இங்க இருக்கு, அதை கீழே கொண்டு வந்துக்கிறேன். அவ்வளவுதான். So first I have just converted it into this form. Y is equal to vx, I can substitute.
Ma'am, before that we need to prove that it's a homogeneous function, differential equation.
ஆமாண்டா, போடலடா நான். So it is obviously, என்ன பண்ணுவீங்க, v இங்கேயே போடுவீங்களா, vx போட்டுட்டு you have to show that only
Ma'am, it's homogeneous and
it is homogeneous ன்னு தெரியுது எனக்கு, அவன் போட சொல்றான்ல. It is a function of, if you substitute 1 plus
ma'am will be 1 plus y squared by x squared
y square by x square
under the root
plus y by x. So it is a function of y by x அப்பா. கரெக்டா மோஹித்? இப்படி போட்டுட்டு so it is a homogeneous differential equation. அவ்வளவுதானே மோஹித்? Can I do this? I have to somehow prove that it is in the form of y by x இல்லப்பா.
But in school they
Ma'am, we have
taught
to
in
show
different
this.
way. They gave it as f of x comma y, and then we put f of lambda x comma lambda y, and then we multiply lambda and take lambda common, and if lambda power 0 comes, then it is proved that fx comma y is a homogeneous differential
it is
function.
given as in your sample paper solution liye இவ்வளவுதான்டா போட்டுருக்காங்க.
Ma'am, do we have to show this?
Yeah, you have to show this டா. கண்டிப்பா இத ஷோ பண்ணனும் நீங்க. ஆனா எப்படி ஷோ பண்றீங்கங்கிறது differs from person to person நினைக்கிறேன். But sample paperல this is what was given pa Mohit. I remember this very correctly. I don't think there is a problem. But anyway, as you are saying, whichever way you are proving, you are going to prove it is a homogeneous differential equation. அதுக்கப்புறம் the problem becomes simple இல்லையாப்பா. You are going to now apply this there, separate it and do this. இத போட்டுட்டு இருந்தோம்னா it will take a lot of time. I just wanted to tell you that differential equations is very easy here for us. So if you look at the marks now, இல்லையா, marks wise நீங்க பாத்தீங்கன்னா 3 mark questionsல one question of differential equation you can definitely do. There is no doubt at all here. One question of LPP you should definitely be able to do. There should be no issues there also. There is one question on probability. And this question on probability is definitely doable because they are asking this time, because last time probability distribution is coming here. So probability distribution, or they are asking you a simple question where conditional probability is asked. இது கொஞ்சம் கஷ்டமா இருக்கு, இது ஈஸியா இருக்கு. So if you have the same choice or you have probability distribution here, then I think this 3 marks is very easy to get. A table form பண்ணிட்டு k and the just showing the distribution table and finding the mean. That type of a question is a 3-mark question for us. Now in the 4, 5, 6 we will see what are our 4, 5, 6 question in integrals. So first one, the integrals, definitely they are asking you this model because it was deleted last year. The square root model. The square root model, we know straightforward formula. But still I'm saying, how will we do this? 3 minus 2x minus x square. Completing the square. Come on, come on.
Plus 1 squared minus 1 squared.
Plus 1 varuma. Minus la irukku. You have to take the minus outside first. Yes, problem. So I will do it like this. I will put a minus 3. Correct, appa?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, dx by vitrike. X square plus 2x plus 1 minus 3 plus 1 minus 1. Correct? Because I want to complete this square. ஒரு நிமிஷத்துல போடலாம் பாருங்க இந்த क्वेश्चन கேட்டாங்கன்னா because we know that this is the model. In the 7.7 model இது before limit of sums you will have this exercise நினைக்கிறேன். So you can very easily do this x plus 1 the whole square minus 2 square. மேல ஒரு dx இருக்கு, கீழ ஒரு ஸ்கொயர் ரூட் இருக்கு. Square root of x square minus a square. Sin inverse x by a அவ்வளவுதான். Three marks worth இல்லாத question. ஏற்கனவே இந்த question போட்டுருக்கோம் நம்ம. So very very easy this question because 3 marks only. It's going to be very easy for you. இது முடிஞ்சிச்சு. Second question பாருங்க. அதே வந்து textbookல இருந்தே தான் they have asked. dx by 1 plus root tan x 0 pi by 3. இது வந்து textbook இப்பதான் போட்டேன் இந்த question நான். Pi by 3, pi by 6 to pi by 3. This question is also and கிட்டத்தட்ட same question. Property use பண்ற question answer வந்து pi by 12 வரும்பா இதுக்கு. இது வந்து textbook question இது. Why I am saying is they are not integrals னு பயப்படுற அளவுக்கு இல்ல. So this second question is going to be definite integral question. They are asking you only from NCERT textbook. Remember this. Not even miscellaneous pa. Textbook ல இருந்தே இந்த question இந்த specific question க்கு answer pi by 12. இதுக்கு ஒரு choice வேற they had given. அந்த choice question வந்து modulus model. நான் கொஞ்சம் ஃபாஸ்டா போயிட்டு இருக்கேன் because I just want to complete this entire or give you a little confidence that it is doable. சரியா நம்ம இது எல்லாமே தனித்தனியா one shot revision we will do. இந்த x minus 1 மாடலும் நம்ம ஏற்கனவே போட்டுருக்கோம். நம்ம என்ன சொல்லிருக்கோம்னா 1ல தான் பிரேக்கிங் பாயிண்ட் நமக்கு. x is equal to 1. இப்போ 0ல ஸ்டார்ட் ஆயிட்டு 1 வரைக்கும் ஒரு வேல்யூ, 1ல இருந்து 4 வரைக்கும் இன்னொரு வேல்யூ. சோ இதுதான் நம்மளுடைய லிமிட்டா வச்சிருக்கோம். சோ 0 to 1 plus 1 to 4. இந்த மாதிரி பிரிக்க சொல்லிருக்கேன் நான் உங்களை. This we already know. அப்போ இந்த இடத்துல it is going to be minus x minus 1. இந்த இடத்துல it is going to be வெறும் x minus 1. ஆனா இது புரியுது, ரொம்ப ஈஸி பாருங்க. அதுக்காக தான் நான் சொல்றேன் because it is not at all difficult. நம்ம பாக்குறதுக்கு தான் integrals வந்து we are getting scared because it is very lengthy. நிறைய இருக்கு மேம், integrals புரியல. எல்லாரும் சொல்றது மேம் integrals how will we finish மேம்? Lot of things is there. But if you understand the concepts well, na, I think it is going to be the easiest chapter for you. So இப்போ இங்க x minus 1 ஏன்னா அது பாசிட்டிவா இருக்கு, அதனால x minus 1 dx. இந்த இடத்துல it is minus x minus 1. So உள்ள கொண்டு போனீங்கன்னா it will become 1 minus x. So 1 minus x dx ஆயிடும். இப்போ simple integration you will get your answer. ஒரு proper number 5. So இந்த மாதிரி questions is easy for me to do. ஏன்னா வந்து இது நமக்கு இல்லையா, நமக்கே தெரியும் இது. So integral is area under the curve. நான் கவுண்ட் பண்ணி கூட எழுதிடுவேன்ப்பா இத. சரி, I am not going to that. At engineering level you will study all that. But anyway, so modulus question கேட்டிருக்காங்க. So ரெண்டு questionுமே ஒன்னு வந்து property யூஸ் பண்ற மாதிரி, இன்னொன்னு modulus based they have asked. And this model also textbookல வந்து x minus 5 இருக்கும்னு நினைக்கிறேன். Or x plus 1 minus 1ல இருந்து போட்டிருக்கேன் நான். So same model, only the number has changed. So இதுவுமே NCERT textbook. So integrals பொறுத்த வரைக்கும் நீங்க extra questions எதுவுமே போட தேவையில்லை. You can stick on to your textbook itself. The last question from your integrals. Last question, partial fraction. அப்ப partial fraction வரும்போது they have asked you a partial fraction. So definitely this question is going to be either partial fraction or integration by parts. இல்லையா, வேற ஆப்ஷனே கிடையாது. integralsல அவ்வளோ exercises இருக்கு. So in the fourth question is going to be from your properties formula. Directa formula use பண்ணி போடுற மாதிரி முடிஞ்ச அளவுக்கு completing the square வச்சு ஒரு question. Next, second definite integral question is going to be either of your property, definitely using a property and solving it, or அதுலயே கொஞ்சம் காம்ப்ளெக்ஸா மாடுலஸ் வச்சு questions. The next question 3 mark is definitely going to be partial fractions or integration by parts. So integration by இந்த வாட்டி கேட்டிருக்கிறது partial fraction யூஸ் பண்ணி போடுற மாதிரி. But partial fractionலயுமே வந்து they will stick on to 2 variables. ஏன்னா it is a 3 mark question. So they can only ask you A, B model. C வர மாதிரி questions கேட்க மாட்டாங்க. So type 1, type 2, type 3 நம்ம revise பண்ணும்போது I will also tell you that they will not go beyond that. So 3 marks also, I think integrals itself is easier. All the 3 marks வந்து உங்களுக்கு அவ்வளோ sure shot. You know what they are going to ask. உங்களுக்கு என்ன தெரியும் differential equation, they are going to ask me only any one of these 3 models. அதுலயே variable separable is ruled out for me. So they will be asking me only what, either they can ask me the integrating factor question, or they can ask me the homogeneous question. LPP ல graph தான் 3 markல கேட்டாங்கன்னா கண்டிப்பா bounded region ஈஸியான ரெண்டே லைன் கொடுத்து தான் they can ask you. Probability, that is the only tricky area எப்பயுமே, whether it is a case study or here, unless you understand the concepts thoroughly, probability is going to definitely be difficult for you. So நிறைய practice பண்ண வேண்டிய ஏரியா வந்து probability for us. Integrals on the other hand, though it is difficult, it seems very lengthy. I think all the 3 questions we know how they are going to divide it. ஏன்னா question paper நான் செட் பண்ணும்போது கூட நீங்க full book படிக்கிறீங்க. I cannot ask all the questions from ஒரு exercise இல்லையா? So I have to give a variety there. So what will I do? Exercise 7.1, 7.2, 7.3 இது எல்லாமே வந்து I will ask in my 1 mark question. 1 markல அதுல இருந்து ஏதாவது ஒரு simple integration question I will ask. Then when I have 3 questions to ask, I will definitely split it neatly. Definite integralsக்கு ரெண்டே exercise தான் இருக்கு, 7.10 and 11. So I will only give 1 3 mark from those two. அந்த ரெண்டுமே சேர்த்து அதுல second 7.10 கண்டிப்பா 1 mark தான் worth, because direct substitution questions அது. So only 7.11. So 7.11 நீங்க நல்லா போட்டீங்கன்னா NCERT textbook, this 3 marks is very easy for you to get. Similarly, partial fraction integration by parts நீங்க practice பண்ண வேண்டிய அவசியமே இல்ல, because it is on the spot now உங்களுக்கு. You have to only be calm to identify which type it is and do the problem. A, B correct கண்டுபிடிக்கணும் நீங்க. That is what we have to do is how to cross check, அது நம்ம பார்க்கணும். How to know if we have done the correct way the problem கரெக்டா பண்ணிருக்கோம் அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு. So I think 3 marks also 5 mark மாதிரியே வந்து 3 markum very very easy for us to score marks in. Coming to our 5 2 mark questions. 2 mark questions உங்களுக்கு அவ்வளோ ஈஸியா இருக்கு sample paperல. So 2 mark questions are going to be from vector differentiation. மெயினா வந்து it starts with ஒரு inverse trigonometric function. அவங்க ஈஸியா கேட்டிருக்க क्वेश्चन நான் உங்களுக்கு போடுறேன், நீங்க ஆன்சர் சொல்லலாம் எனக்கு. இதான் கேட்டிருக்க क्वेश्चन sample paperல. What is the answer for this? How will we do this? Sine inverse of 12
Ma'am,
pi.
can you write it like the sine of 2 pi minus pi by?
Why you go for 2
no.
pi? Why do you want to do that?
No, yeah, wrong.
So first this will become sine of 12 pi na verum pi by 7 apa. So sine inverse of sine pi by 7. But again, it is not in the.
Ma'am, shouldn't it be 2 pi minus pi by 7?
Correct. ஏனா வந்து இங்க வராது இல்ல. You cannot have it as 13 pi வந்து பிரிச்சா 7 ஆல டிவைட் ஆகணும். So it has to be 14 pi minus pi அப்பா. கரெக்ட் அப்பா? இப்படி தான பண்ணுவீங்க. So sine of, you have to get 13 pi by a multiple of 7ல போட்டிங்கனா தான் it will get cancelled off. So it is going to be this. Now sine inverse of sine of 14 pi by 7 வந்து 2 pi minus pi by 7. Surya, ஓகேவா? ஆன்சர் கீழ 2 pi minus pi by 7 தான் இருக்கும். பட் எப்படி வந்துச்சுன்னு we should know. Okay, so yes, so you have this. Now 2 pi minus pi by 7 means what? It is traveling in the opposite direction, which is nothing but sine of 4th quadrant. 2 pi minus theta is in the 4th quadrant. So it is minus pi by 7. So answer is minus pi by 7. Is it possible? Yes. Sine oda range என்னது? minus pi by 2 to plus pi by 2 appa.
Yes,
So it
ma'am.
is well within the range. So adayum sollanum. It belongs to minus pi by 2 to pi by 2. So this is the final answer. Sometimes namakku vara answer vandu final answer ah irukadu. Appo then we have to convert it illiyappa, convert it and find out the correct answer. So inverse trigonometric function, or they have given relations and functions, but I don't think they are going to give you a choice here. It is going to be inverse trigonometric functions because illana avanga onnume illa weightage and lesson ku. Next year pasangala padikave maatanga illaya. They will ignore this lesson. Enappa ore or 1 mark question dhaan ketirukanga ITF la irundhu, so I will not study nanachitaanga, then it is a waste for them. So they will definitely ask you 1 2 mark question at least from this lesson. So this first two easy question for us. Then as I told you, you have continuity or question, continuity differentiability la vector la. So for continuity differentiability there are two questions, or as I can say application of derivatives. Appa solra application of derivatives la you have this rate of change. Romba easy question, direct ah ketirukanga. Or person walk பண்றாங்க, he is walking this much seconds, so dr by dt எல்லாம் கொடுத்துட்டாங்க question la. They are asking you shadow length and a மாதிரி question. We have done this question a lot of times. Application of derivatives la next question. Then you have vector. Vector la there are two questions. Both questions, or if they are on the orthogonal perpendicular, a dot b equal to 0 podra mari question. Romba simple vector question. Two questions are there. Modulus of x kekranga, iduvum neenga easy ah kandupidichirunga, rendume vector question da. So first question ITF easy. Next question application of derivatives, we know that definitely it is going to be from exercise 6.1. Then because no other exercise is there for you to ask, மத்ததெல்லாம் case study ல கேக்குறதுனால இந்த லெசனை வந்து இங்க கேட்டிருக்காங்க. வேற எங்கேயுமே இந்த question fit in பண்ண முடியாது அவங்க அதனால. Then you have two questions on vector, and then you have only one question on continuity and differentiability. அதுல straight forward ah and prove that question. இந்த y2 y1 லாம் போடுவீங்க இல்லையா, they will give you x and y and then they will ask you to, இது என்ன வேணா கேட்கலாம் கண்ணா. So differentiation la irundhu they are going to ask you a question. That question can be any question straight from your textbook. They will not go beyond your textbook. அதே மாடல் தான், numbers மட்டும் வேணா plus minus மாத்தி கொடுக்கலாம். So 2 marks also is going to be very easy for you. So what we have to really practice is our 1 mark questions. 1 mark questions vandu, they are not very hard, but they are very time consuming. So we have to keep on practicing the 1 mark questions. So overall I would say in 80 marks la vandu we have to practice only the 1 mark and the case studies enna பொறுத்த வரைக்கும். மத்த எல்லாமே வந்து we know where it is going to come from. We know that 3 marks la இங்க வர போகுது, 5 marks இங்க வர போகுது, எல்லாமே we already know. சரியா? So I'm going to stop here. I just wanted to little motivate you to score centum in max area. Max is one subject where you can easily score. I'm still not able to understand why you are not scoring marks in max. Sharia. So just start planning properly. I will start one lesson revision. We already finished, I think, 3D geometry. So next one, I will go for matrices determinants. Then Saturday, maybe we will do a little of LPP. I don't think you need a revision. I think you are already okay with LPP. So maybe application of integrals I will do. So these 5 lessons along with vector. Vector also I want to do some self-study. So in the 6 lessons, when the Sunday I've told a test for you. So